Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. So, you're all welcome to day three of our online parenting webinar tagged Redefining Your Parenting Journey. I'm so happy to have you all here. My name is Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. I'm a psychologist. I'm also a family life practitioner, and I help individuals, I help families to live a thriving life by providing them with practical tools and information. And part of the tools we provide parents are webinars. We have books. I've written about I've published 4 books, and I have several ebooks. And not just that, we also have our therapy session at Coaching Academy. So today is day three of our ongoing seminar, a webinar, and today we're talking about something important, another thing we need to do, another aspect of our parenting journey that we'll need to redefine. So let me just do a recap of what we've spoken about in the last 2 days. So I started by talking about what parenting is. I spoke about what it means to be a parent. I also spoke about why we need to redefine our parenting journey. And one of the reasons we need to redefine our parenting journey is the fact that our children are evolving. Our children are moving from one developmental stage to another developmental stage. And as parents, our parenting strategy, our parenting style should not be static. Rather, as our children keeps evolving, as parents, we should also keep learning, and our parenting strategies and style also needs to keep moving. Yesterday, I spoke about the different strategies parents use in raising their children. I also stated that the relationship you have with your child right now is a function of the parenting strategies you've been using in raising your child. If you want to learn more, if you want to know more about everything I've spoken about, please go to my channel. You see all the videos are still on my YouTube channel. Please go to my YouTube channel and you get a whole lot about what I've discussed. So today we're going further, we're going further. So today we'll be discussing another important aspect of our parenting journey. Another aspect we need to redefine, we need to review and redefine, and that is our family values. One mistake I noticed, even me, it happened to me at my earlier stage of parenting, is one mistake I noticed about parents is the error, or should I call it mistake, is the error of assumption. As parents, we just assume that our children should know our family values. So when you ask parents, oh, do you have family values? Oh, yes, we have family values. Do your children know your family? Of course, they know our family values. And I always give them one task. I say, okay, no problem. If you believe that all your children know your family values, let them all sit down together, give them pieces of paper, and let them write out your family values. Most times, out of 5 parents I would do this with, most times at least 3 of them, their children do not know what their family values are. So that's one reason as parents we should not assume. Assumption is an error in parenting. So if you've tried this out with your children and they all wrote different things, don't be upset, don't be dismayed, don't be worried. Do you know what you're going to do? So I need you, yes, you, mommy, I need you to now get your own piece of paper. Yes, get your own piece of paper, get your biro. I need you to sit tight and learn a whole lot about how you can create your family values, how you can redefine your values, and also how you can teach these values to your children. So I hope you've gotten your pen and paper. Your pen and paper. You need to do that. So what is family values? What do I mean by family? What are family values? Just like your personal or your work values, family values are sets of moral, ethical principles or standards that guides the behavior of the members of the family. Let me say this again. Just like your personal or your work values, your family values are a set of ethical or moral principles or standard that guides the behavior of the members of the family. These values, when upheld, are passed from one generation to the next generation. If you were there, if you were in the class yesterday when I spoke about our parenting style, I said one factor that determines the parenting style we are presently using is the past parenting method our parents use. So if in your family your parents have family values that they've passed on to you, unconsciously you might be passing these values on to your children. So another thing we need to know about family values is that they influence our judgment, they influence our behavior, they also influence our parenting style. When we talk about family values, our family values, they guide us, they guide our decision making process. Our family values are like guiding compass, right? These values guides our decision making process. It also guides how we live our lives. So for example, if one of your if one of your family values is gratitude, everywhere, every time someone gives you something, every time someone does something for you, it's something that just come naturally to you because it's part of your values, part of what you've imbibed. And that's why it's important as parents that when we talk of values, we we have, these are things that we have to deliberately teach our children. They have to internalize these things. Our values shape our children into becoming who we've envisioned them to be. One thing we need to know about our family values is that it helps us to raise our children to becoming the kind of adult we've envisioned them to be. So, for example, you've envisioned your child to be, oh, I want my child to be a hardworking, successful, blah, 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 blah person. What are the values of that kind of person? What are the things that that kind of person would do? Right? So when we know, when we're sure of, when we know, so if we've envisioned something for our children, these things, this these plans or these goals we have for our children, there are certain values that come with them. So once we have, so and these values should be part of what we should inculcate into our family values, because they reflect who or how you want to raise your children, the kind of adult you want your children to become. Another thing we need to know about our family values is that it's important as parents, before you can say you're passing on certain values to your children, you, the parents, you need to be able to clarify these values. What are these values? Like I said, we should not assume our children knows this value. We should be deliberate in asking, what do you think are our values? If they say, oh, if they say things that you've not taught them, just like you've not taught them. So as parents, we have to consciously create these values in our home. We have to consciously create these values. In all my books, at the back of all my books, I have value clarification and templates there. Also, one of our ebooks is called the Family Character and Family Values and Character Building Guide. In this guide, we have templates on how parents can teach their children, how parents can clarify their values. So if you are here and you don't have these, if you don't have any material on how to create your family values, please send me a message or go to my website. There's a link there where you click on, you see the book. It's an ebook and it's just very, very affordable. It's called the Family Values and Character Building Guide. Very easy to read and very easy to do tasks are in them. Another thing we need to know as parents is that when it comes to creating values in the home, we need to be deliberate to clarify our own value. What are your own values? So, first step in creating family values, the parents need to come together to identify the values that are important to them as individuals, and these values are the ones they want to transfer to their children. Now, if you have older children now, one of the ways when I work with parents and their teenagers is that I tell them that let there be a family meeting. Once there's a family meeting, in my guide, I'll also teach on how to create your family meeting. In that guide is also there how to create your family meeting. Have a family meeting. Let every member of the family come together. Let them know what you're about to do, that we want to create our family values. Let them all come up with values they feel are important to them, especially if you have older children. If you have younger children, you might come up with these values for them. One thing you need to know about your family values is that for families who have clearly defined values, these families have a stronger and a healthy relationship with them. And another thing we need to know is that these values set up our children for success. I remember there was a time my daughter came and she was like, "Oh, mom, that do you know that something happened in school?" And she was like, for every time my teacher gave her something, she was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." And the teacher had to say, "Wow, that you just show gratitude." And in my mind, I was like, yeah, that's one thing we hold dear, especially for my husband. That gratitude thing, for any small thing you do for him, he's always appreciative. He's always saying thank you. So these are part of the things we've been able to instill into our children. So when it comes to values, like I said, if you do not have values now, please sit down, just sit down, create values for your family. How can you create your values? I said you start by you writing out your own personal values as parents, as individuals, yourself and your spouse. Write out your values, write out the values that are important to you. After writing out these values, then you speak to your children about the values. How do you speak to your children about them? The next step is for you to speak to your children about these values. You need to explain the meanings of these values. You need to let them know why these values are important to your family. One thing we need to know as parents, that when we're teaching our children about values or character traits, we need to sell the benefit of these character traits, of these values to our children. If you do not sell the benefits to them, they will just listen. They might not just really imbibe. So as parents, the next step is, once you've been able to clarify your values as individuals, husband and wife, then the next step is to speak to your children about these values. Explain to them the meanings of these values. Let them know and understand why these values are important to the family. Like I said, you have to sell the benefits of the values to them, why it's important for them to be able to imbibe these values. And like I said, values are things that will set your standards. Their moral ethics, or their moral or ethical principles that will set your children up for success. Once there's a family value, it binds the family together. It helps the family members to have a strong and healthy relationship. Another the next step, or another thing we can do in in instilling these values in our children, is to consciously and deliberately teach them so the first step is you identifying the values. The next step is having a meeting with your children, let them understand, oh, these are our family values. The next step is you explaining the meanings and the benefits of these values to your children. The next step is you teaching. And the best way to teach your values to your children is by you living the values. As parents, we are role models to our children. We are the first role model. And the best way we can teach our value, the best way they can see, the most tangible way they can see this value is by us living the value. If you're not living the value, it just means you're, just lip service. So as parents, it's important that we teach by living. We teach by living these values. These values are easier for your children to catch when they see you living them. When your children see you living these values, it's easier for them to catch it. Or, like I said, and there was a time I asked you a question. I said, are values and character traits caught or taught? And it's actually both. But it's easy when they see you living these values. The next step is you writing, creating your family values. You can put it in a plaque. You can create a plaque. You can paste it somewhere where everybody can see. It's important that they see your values. Let it be written down. Paste them in a place where your children can see them. Paste them in a place where your children can see them constantly. It's a reminder. There's a place in the Bible when God was talking about the Ten Commandments. He said they should paste them on the door. They should bind them on their hands. They should, and for God to even write this in the Bible, God knows that the more you see it, the more you internalize it. So it's important as parents, let's create our family values. Let them see it. Let your children see it. Let them have, like, you can frame it. You can, just create something for them to see. And like I said in our ebook, building your family values and character, building your family values and character traits, I have a template which I've written, how parents can clarify the values. I've written different types of values and different ways you can teach these values practically, age appropriate values, age appropriate teaching of these values to your children. As parents, please, it's important. We need to teach by action. Let me say it again. We need to teach by action. We need to teach our children by action. If empathy or love is one of your values, your children should see you loving people around you. Let it not be just lip service or mouth service, lip service. Your children need to see you living it. Another example of another value is integrity. If you ask people, most people say, "Oh, honesty, integrity." Are you honest in the home? Do you tell children, oh, to lie for you? You know, a person who has integrity is honest. And this is one thing we need to teach our children. They know what is wrong, and they know what is right from what is wrong, and they choose to do the right thing. As parents, when we are teaching our children our values, like I said, we have to act them out. We speak about it, we we live them. Your children should see you living these values. So if you do not have family values, please, you need to create one today. Speak to your spouse, speak to your children about the fact that family values are important. Like I said, they are standard, they are standard that guides our decision making process. They are standard that guides the way we live our life. They are standard that guides the way we raise our children. It's important. Family values, very, very important. Another person could say, "Oh, ha, excellence is a value, is one value we have in our family." As a parent, things you do you show excellence in everything you do? Hard work. Another person could say, "Oh, hard work is our family value." Are you hardworking? Another person could say, "Oh, giving." There are so many values. They have quite a lot. So as parents, it's important that we teach our children our values, because our values are things that, it's like, it's the core of who we are. Having a family value is like your identity. Oh, the family of Taiwo Ogunkomi, this is what we are known for. It's like an identity. It's like your identity. Hello, how are you doing? Please, as you're joining, I'd like you to just write your comments, make comments, write what do you have questions? Please write it in the comment section. I will always get back to you. Thank you so much. So back to our family values. Why do we need family values? I've spoken about that. I started by talking about what values are. I said values are very important. As parents, we need to clarify our values to our children. We should not assume that they know it. We need to be deliberate to we need to be deliberate and conscious. We need to deliberately and consciously create and instill these values in our children. I said that, so one of the reasons we need to have value is that it builds a stronger and healthy relationship with your children. I also said that your values set up your children for success. Once your child knows that, oh, these are our values, when they go out there and they see things, they see things they wouldn't want to do because they know, oh, this is not who I am. And like I said, your values is like your identity, it's like the core. Your values, family value, is like the core of your family. It's like, it's like it influences their judgment, the behavior. It's the core of who the family is. And it also helps with direction and purpose. Like I said, if there's a particular if there's an adult you want, if there's a type of adult or a kind of adult you want your child to be, your values will help you in raising your child to become that person. So we're done for today. It's always is like a short session for the next five. So for 5 days, so we've done 3 days, and we have 2 more days to go. Tomorrow we'll be talking about how we can create our parenting plan. All I've been doing is just, I've just been talking about the foundation. I started by talking. I've been laying the foundation. I spoke about what parenting is. I spoke about why we need to redefine our parenting journey. Yesterday, I spoke about strategies we can employ in raising our children. And I also said that the relationship you have with your child today is a function of the method or strategy you're using in raising your children. Today, I spoke about family values, why it's important that we redefine our family values. If you have not taught your children your family values, please be deliberate about it. Go and teach them. Come up with the family values, different values. And I said in our ebook, family, we have an ebook. It's called the Family Value and Character Building Guide. In this ebook, we've given templates, a different templates on how you can clarify your values and also how you can teach your children age based on age appropriate. So if a child of 1 to 2, how do you teach that child your values? Your toddler, your teenager, your young child, how do you teach them your values? I have it in our guide. So, and it's going for just 1,500, very affordable. So if you're interested, you can go to our website and you can pick it up. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been an awesome time with you. As usual, always put your question in the comment section, and I'll always get back to you. Thank you so much. So tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow we'll be talking about how we can create our parenting plan. I have this book, Parenting Journal. It's a daily planner for raising your child with love and influence. This was the first book I wrote. And in this book, I've written how parents can create their parenting plan, the different areas we need to plan for our children. I've written about how parents can write out their family vision, their family mission statement, and also how to set your core values. Also, in this book, I've written about how parents can set family goals for the family, and also how parents can set individual goals for each child based on their physical development, their emotional development, their intellectual development, and also their skills development. These are areas, like I said parenting is all about parents promoting the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the intellectual, and moral development of their children. And in this book, Parenting Journal, it's a guide on how you can create your parenting plan. So tomorrow we'll be talking about that, how to create your parenting plan. For those that want to buy the ebook on how to create, the ebook is titled Family Value and Character Building Guide. It's just going for 1005. You can get it on my website. My website, let me see if I can type it. Let me see. So website is www.oluwatoyin ogunkomi.com/books. You can get all my books from there. Thank you so much for joining today. Tomorrow, let's join again the same time, 8 p.m. And yeah, invite your friends, invite invite anyone you know that is raising a child or that is about to raise a child. Let them be here. Let them come and learn about parenting and how to set the parenting journey in motion. Good night. Have a nice evening. Bye.